Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 Early Access action. Yes, indeed. Today we're going to be taking a look at a replay between myself as the Warriors of Chaos and Turin as the High Elves here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the High Elf army composition first. We've got Teclis here up on a horse. Excuse me. He's got Net of Ammontok, Enfeebling Foe, and Regrowth, as well as the Potion of Troy and Bound Fiery Convocation. He's also got two Handmaidens of the Everqueen. Now, these guys are a new hero that comes with the Queen and the Crone DLC. They've got anti-large, no armor piercing in melee. I mean, obviously they have 110 armor piercing in melee, but they're not a majority AP unit in melee, but they do have magic, fire, armor-piercing missiles, which is pretty strong in and of itself. Not the best armor, only 40 armor, but great melee defense, decent melee attack, and again, that anti-large bonus because they do carry a spear for melee combat. Decent hero overall. We've also got two Illyrian Reavers, three Swordmasters of Hoeth for our front line, and two Sisters of Avalorn. Again, good melee defense, low armor, but armor-piercing, magic, and flaming ammunition. We've also got two units of Spearmen, and that's pretty much it for the High Elves. So if we take a look at my forces of Chaos here, we've got Sarthrael, the Everwatcher. I do think that he's going to start to be the most competitive pick in this matchup, as he is in many others, due to his magic and missile resistance against the new Sisters of Avalorn and the Handmaidens. They both do magic missile damage, so both of these effects stacked, giving him an 85% mitigation on those missile attacks, which is very, very strong. He's also got a good spell loadout with the Lore of Metal, and himself a decent combatant with 60 melee attack, only 40 melee defense and 30 armor, but that 60 melee attack and magic damage is pretty nice. Today I've got Searing Doom and Plague of Rust, as well as the metal shifting, so we can try and get some good value out of that. For the infantry line, we've got a mix of Chaos Marauders, 4 of them, 2 Chosen, and the Mirror Guard here in the center. Mirror Guard are Regiment of Renowned Chaos Warriors who are immune to psychology. They're supposed to be Sigvald's kind of bodyguard, hence the mirror shields and the symbols of Slanesh. We've also got the Demon Spew here. They've got the Swarm of Flies ability and poison attacks, Regiment of Renown Forsaken, and the Summoners of Rage, Regiment of Renown Dragon Ogres. These guys have magic attacks, so they're going to be very good against units like Dragon Princes, Phoenix Guard. And obviously you probably don't want them fighting Phoenix Guard for a sustained amount of time, but they do have the magic attacks to circumvent that physical resistance. They also have one-time use of Bound Chain Lightning, which you have to charge up in melee first to be able to use. Chain Lightning is a pretty solid vortex spell, so that's a very nice bound ability to have. And finally, to round out the Regiments of Renown, we've got the Weird Spawn. These are a armor sundering unit of Chaos Spawn with physical resistance. I don't know if the base unit of Chaos Spawn has physical resistance or missile resistance or what have you. I'll have to look, but the armor sundering in and of itself is going to be very strong, and it will help these non-AP troops kind of deal with things. Also got some Marauders with throwing axes and hounds scattered around, so without further ado, let's kick the battle into full gear, as we've already got a bit of a skirmish phase underway. Those Illyrian Reavers were coming in and kind of poking around and going to be looking to do so again. They do have a decent charge bonus. They'll be able to cycle charge and do some okay damage to these Marauders. But Big Bird will definitely have something to say about that. You can see him gobbling up a few of those Illyrian Reavers there. Going to be pretty rough. That being said, with their anti-large bonus, these Handmaidens, if they manage to get a hold of Big Bird in melee, they can actually do a pretty solid amount of damage. Since he has low armor, he will take a lot of damage here. So the two Handmaidens are going to come in with their spears, and they're going to do some damage to Big Bird here. Illyrian Reavers also following up. Got some Marauders in to support, but it's not going to be the best, unfortunately. Teclis also coming in here. A little bit dangerous from him, but I'm going to be dropping a Searing Doom just right on top of the combat here to try and take down some more of these Illyrian Reavers. And I'm also kind of repositioning my front line to try and block the retreat of Teclis and these two Handmaidens, potentially. So, yeah, meanwhile over here, this unit of Illyrian Reavers got tangled up with some hounds of mine who were hidden in the woods here. Did not see them, so we were able to take them out with relatively few losses. You can see these Sisters of Avalorn opening up. Obviously, their magic damage will circumvent the physical resistance of these weird spawns. So we're going to try and pull back out of range until we've gotten a favorable situation here. And I mean, obviously with the Swordmasters, they have great combat stats, but hopefully with the weird spawn, and I'm also planning on combining that with an Overcast Plague of Rust, we can get these Swordmasters down to literally 0 armor. So let's see how these guys do. We're also going to be following up with Chosen here, and Chosen with shields have great melee defense, so they'll be able to at least hold for some time. And now you can see the weird spawn coming in, and that Overcast Plague of Rust bringing these Swordmasters down to literally 0 armor. So they're just going to get absolutely mashed in here. These other 2 units will do much better, I should say, against the Mirror Guard here. But very nice Net of Amantok grabbing these Summoners of Rage. We're going to be throwing down a Searing Doom in the back line, though. It's going to be very good against these low armor, high value skirmishers here in the back line for the High Elves. So some great value there from that Searing Doom. We're also pushing through with some Marauders. Marauders actually probably won't beat Sisters of Avalorn in melee, but it's not going to be a cost-effective trade for the Sisters, certainly. And you can see I'm also throwing in my Marauders here. Basically, the idea is we just need to tie things down here for as long as possible while we crumble the front line. One of the units, Swordmasters, is just about done. Meanwhile, Summoners of Rage have managed to catch this unit of this Handmaiden here. Not a unit of Handmaidens. That would be truly terrifying. But anyway, you can see Chosen holding out relatively well here on the front line against these Swordmasters. And the weird spawn and the rest are going to be collapsing in from the flank. And again, anytime I get the chance, I'm going to be dropping that Overcast Plague of Rust, as it is down to 60 armor for those Swordmasters. So they're definitely struggling there with all the troops collapsing. Big Bird's trying to terrify away this very tattered unit there. Being High Elves, their leadership is holding, and you can see these Spearmen doing a really good job kind of keeping these Marauders at bay. I'm having to continually try and path them through to try and get on these Sisters of Avalorn, but meanwhile in the back line, these Summoners of Rage have kind of pushed away these Sisters of Avalorn from protection, and despite the bowfire coming in there, which is pretty nasty, Summoners of Rage do have some missile resistance, 25%, which is pretty decent, so they will have some mitigation against that armor-piercing bowfire there. And yeah, we've routed off the 1 unit of Sisters of Avalorn, so looking pretty good so far, despite what the balance of power may say. Big Bird has taken a lot of damage, but the 3 units of Swordmasters at this point have been dealt with, so there's really not a lot to protect the Sisters of Avalorn. It's just a matter of me making sure Big Bird and these Summoners of Rage stay healthy. You can see them coming in here, and oh man, Techless, you're in the wrong neighborhood, buddy. Needs to get the heck out of there. But meanwhile, just kind of trying to chase down some of these routing units and try and get on these Sisters of Avalorn here. You can see, looks like that Bound Chain Lightning going to be summoned up here in the back line. Ooh, man, does some decent damage, not the most, but anything we can try and do to disrupt these Sisters of Avalorn, even just make them move at the very least from that vortex, doesn't actually end up doing that much at the end of the day, but again, it did force them to at the very least move, so they weren't firing during that time. You can see the rest of the weird spawn and the Chosen here collapsing on these 2 Handmaidens. I mean, obviously the Handmaidens will do okay against the weird spawn. They actually just took 1 down there, but the Chosen and other units are going to be pretty rough for them to deal with, of course. Once the weird spawn hit them, they're going to be down to only 10 armor. But I had completely forgotten the Demon Spew almost this entire time, so here come the Demon Spew in the very late game, basically full and fresh, and this is going to be pretty bad for the High Elves to deal with. This full, fresh unit of Forsaken, and Regiment of Renown Forsaken at that, with great combat stats, poison, Swarm of Flies. You can see this relatively healthy unit of Sisters of Avalorn that had otherwise been protected up until now. It's getting the Dragon Ogre mashing, and the hordes of Marauders and Chosen pushing through. At this point, the Handmaidens are trying to go after Big Bird, but we're going to use the Demon Spew to screen them out, apply that poison and that Swarm of Flies, and just kind of bog them down, running in with the weird spawn as well. So yeah, definitely a bad day to be one of these Handmaidens here. And the Techless just kind of helpless in the back watching as this all unfolds here. Very unfortunate situation. But yeah, these Mirror Guard, they're going to get in here against these very tattered Swordmasters, as are these Forsaken. They'll definitely cleave through what little spears and other supporting troops there are in here. The terror will quickly take hold for the High Elves, because their leadership is very much lacking at this point. It's pretty much just the fact that Techless and these 2 Handmaidens are still relatively healthy. That's the only thing holding the balance of power at this point. There are still some Sisters of Avalorn trying to escape here. You can see the Handmaidens riding through, but there's not really a lot that can stop the Summoners of Rage at this point. Ooh, that volley was pretty nice. A volley like that will do it. And the Sisters of Avalon here are actually going to be getting a regrowth, I believe, to keep their HP up and give them a bit of extra physical resistance as well. So yeah, they're holding for the time being. They do have decent melee defense, and they're going to pin these guys in place so that we get another bound fiery convocation. But of course, that won't do a whole lot to the Summoners of Rage. It will do quite a bit to the Marauders here. But Summoners of Rage going to continue fighting, and the Handmaidens trying to push their bowfire in there and take out those those Regiment of Renown Dragon Ogres. And man, you guys know I was a pretty big fan of Dragon Ogres before, and this Regiment of Renown is probably one of the best. I definitely think that Chaos has some really strong Regiments of Renown, and what was already a strong faction before is going to be one of the strongest probably in the new patch. They have a lot of answers for a lot of different matchups. The Summoners of Rage are incredible. The Weird Spawn, you've got the Demon Spew going all out here with the Forsaken Sprint, and just absolute linebackers. And at this point, we're just trying to chase down what's left. Finally, the balance power is tilting a little bit more decisively, as pretty much all the infantry have been routed off at this point. There are some spearmen that are going to get inundated by some marauders here, so we'll grab some cinematic action of these guys charging into each other. And yeah, they're definitely not going to go well for the spearmen now that they've dropped their martial prowess and really don't have the combat stats to stand up against these marauders here. So yeah, at this point it's just a matter of finishing off the heroic course. We're going to fast forward a little bit here as Turin tries to pick off these Summoners of Rage, but we do manage to get him with some Marauders here, and the Summoners of Rage are going to be pushing through. Oh man, it's a bad day. And man, those Mirror Guard, despite having taken a lot of damage, still holding strong. There are some Spearmen over here as well, and pretty much as soon as we finish them off, the battle's going to be over good and proper. A little bit of a long drawn-out late game situation here, but yeah. We'll soak up some cinematics as Big Bird kind of trolls around, not really wanting to get involved in combat too much as he is pretty low on HP, but we're going to try and stop these sisters here, or sorry, the Handmaidens momentarily, and then surround them with the Demon Spew and some Marauder Horsemen. We've also got the Poison Warhounds on station, so at this point Teclis has had his healing cap. He's going to be using up last of his magic here, I think, to drop another regrowth on one of those Handmaidens, so just going all in, trying to finish it out, but at this point it's just going to be a grind of Chaos Infantry circle beating these High Elf heroes into the dirt. There's no other units left at this point, so we'll fast forward as this is not the most thrilling part of the battle, certainly. Big Bird's going to come in here and try and finish things off, tossing his own troops aside. Big Bird cares not, and yeah, he actually takes quite a bit of damage there, a little bit more than I was comfortable with, down to about 600 HP left. We are going to drop that standard die there, but yeah, at this point it's just a matter of finishing things off. Plague of Rust on Teclis brings him down to only 20 armor, and the Hounds with Big Bird here are going to follow it up and finish it off here. So we'll grab cinematic action of the end of the battle. Very well played at turn. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. I had realized that I hadn't shown you guys the Regiments of Renown for Chaos yet, and somehow that seemed a bit odd to me, considering Chaos is one of my favorite factions in the game. But yeah, super fun battle, well played at turn. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. I definitely think that the Warriors of Chaos are going to still be a force to contend with, if not more so, because of their Regiments of Renown. I mean, obviously, High Elves and Dark Elves are also going to both be very strong, as they did get some good new goodies. But Warriors of Chaos, man, all of the Regiments of Renown here, well, besides the fact that I forgot the Demon Spew for about half the battle there. But otherwise, the Weird Spawn and the Summoners of Rage both being MVPs there. The Weird Spawn just mashing those Swordmasters of Hoeth and sundering their armor. The Summoners of Rage, of course, taking care of a lot of that backline pressure. The Chaos Poison Warhounds, the fact that I was able to ambush and catch those Illyrian Reavers was definitely a good get for me. Likewise, those Marauder Horsemen definitely played a role there. And the Chosen and Marauders, you know, they did their job pushing through the front line. They weren't amazing, but at the end of the day, it was enough. Big Bird himself racking up 55 kills. Actually, pretty surprised. Both the Handmaidens, 45 and 49, pretty decent amount of kills, and they were able to do a lot of damage to Big Bird. They just weren't able to finish him off. So, you know, there might be a little something to the Handmaidens in this matchup, because, of course, if they bring Kolek or somebody like Archaon or pretty much anyone besides Big Bird, the armor-piercing missiles are going to be very good against them. So, very interesting. I'll have to play around with the Handmaidens some more. It's an interesting trade-off, having the armor-piercing missiles but no armor-piercing in melee versus the noble who has armor-piercing in melee but has no missile attack. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what matchups, which ones are more favorable, but very fun battle. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thank you once again for watching, and we'll see you next time.